Good afternoon, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is chomos. Maybe you've heard the word. If you've been to jail, you've definitely heard the word. I've been to jail, and I've heard that word. And chomos is short for, it's a contraction, child molester. I want to talk about this subject. This is going to be a first foray into this subject for me on my videos. And it's a big subject, and it's going to be a short video like most of my videos. So, kid fuckers, if you'll pardon the expression. Chomos, same idea. I want to mention a couple of names. The late Harvey Weinstein, if you are familiar with his history and the story, at least what was told in the media. And I'm going to try to be fair here. I'm going to try to be objective, because it's relevant. It was a very high-profile case of child molestation, actually human trafficking, sex trafficking, where people, young people, women especially, were roped into service, sexual service. They were bought and sold like cattle, from my understanding. I wasn't there, but that's what I read anyway. I want to mention something. There are child molesters. There actually are. But not every underage person who has sex with somebody is being molested. I want to start with that. Maybe they're having sex with somebody of their own age. I know that the vast majority of people honestly have sex before the age of 18, which brings me to my point. People do not become adults on their 18th birthday in the sense of being able to consent to things like sex and other things. I'm going to say that again. People do not become adults on their 18th birthday. Some people mature faster than others. Some people never mature. There's a lot of opportunity for people to understand this idea that some people are never ready to have sex consensually. Some people are handicapped. To say that these people are suddenly ready for sex at the age of 18 is a disservice to them. And that's just one example. The opposite is true as well. My point is, I'm at 2.5 minutes. A child molester knows they're a child molester. They know that they're taking something inappropriately. They have a guilty conscience usually. And the word stirs up these negative feelings because they know they did something wrong. But the fact of the matter is, there's, just like as with trespassing, if you have permission to be on a property, if you have an invitation, if you are welcome on that property by a consenting, mature owner, you are legally allowed to be there. I've talked about how all law literally hinges on agreements. It does. But you have to be able to agree. This is the thing. You have to be demonstrably able to agree. I could talk about consent. It's a 5-part device. First of all, you have to have wherewithal. You have to understand the central effects of the proposal, not just today, but moving forward in the future, for the foreseeable future. You have to have consciousness, obviously, to consent. The proposal has to be digestible, especially if it's in a written form. I'm just going to cover this really quick. It's a 5-part device. Bear with me. For written proposals, as in contracts or agreements, it has to be short enough to be understood. Number 4 is you have to actually have the consent. This is a big deal. The proposal's not enough. You have to have, it can be implied, it doesn't have to be express, but it has to exist. It can be retroactive as well. Somebody can consent after the fact. But if it turns out there was a complaint and there was no consent, or the consent was revoked and the person was underage, you have a problem with me at that point. Number 5 of the consent device is no group consent. What does that mean? No riders. Nothing tacked on. Nothing that goes along with a package proposal. You can't say like, well, if you're in this group, you consent automatically because you're in the group. That doesn't work. That's a violation. So with that said, I want to get back to the subject. The subject is people don't mature at the same rate. Some people are adults at 18, some people aren't. Some people mature quickly, some people don't. And really the problem is taking advantage of people. If you ask me, any kind of vampiristic or parasitic sex, 2 words for you, vampiristic, parasitic, is equally inappropriate. And it doesn't matter how old people are. They're criminal. Those are forms of rape. You may or may not disagree, but if a person happens to be underage and you do that same thing, the casual sex thing, we've got a very specific set of laws for that, don't we? I want to end this video with a positive note. The positive note is, if a party is mature enough to consent, it doesn't matter how old they are. That's the question. That needs to be the question. Just like if a party consents to have you on their property, that's the end of it. You're not trespassing if you were invited. You can't rape the willing. It's true. I will take that to the highest court. Turns out, I'm not a child fucker. Hope no one ever says it, because you will regret it. Have a great day. Reach out with questions to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.